Welcome back, class 10, your civics class. Continuing with chapter 3, the Union Executive. Formation and organization of the Council of Ministers. The formation and organization of the Council of Ministers may be studied under certain headings. Number 1, designation of a new Prime Minister. The first step towards forming a new government is the designation of a new Prime Minister. The Constitution provides. What does the Constitution say? The Constitution says that the Prime Minister shall be appointed by the President. The Prime Minister must be a person who can be sure of the support of the Lok Sabha. If you don't have the support of the Lok Sabha, you are no longer the Prime Minister. Therefore, the President does not have any much discretionary power to appoint the Prime Minister. Number 2, appointment of ministers. The other ministers are appointed by the President on the advice of the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister advises the President whom to appoint. It is his right to have a government which can work together as a team and which can secure the support of the Lok Sabha. So whatever the Prime Minister wants or wishes, the minister under him or her, the President is bound to give appointment. The Prime Minister has also to bear in mind that as far as possible, all the major communities and geographical regions of the country find a representative in the ministry. Different types of geographical regions, different types of communities, all should have a representative. All ministers have to be the member of either house of the parliament, either Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. Non-members can also be chosen as ministers, but such person has to get themselves elected or nominated to either house within a period of 6 months after their appointment. Then number 3, oaths of office and secrecy. The President administers oath of office and secrecy to the Prime Minister and other Union ministers. An oath is been administered. Under this oath of office, he means the Prime Minister and other Union ministers affirms or promises that he shall bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India. That means the Prime Minister and other ministers will listen and follow the rules of the Constitution. He will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of the country. The sovereignty, freedom and integrity means the keeping together. The country should be together. No force should be able to split the country. That should be looked after. He will faithfully discharge his duties as ministers. Ministers should discharge their duties faithfully, without fear, without favor, without affection or without any ill will. Under oath or secrecy, a minister affirms that he will not reveal to any person any matter which shall be brought under his consideration as a minister. So, there should be secrecy. Any office work or any thing that goes inside the parliament or any steps taken by the government should not be revealed outside. Size of the Council of Ministers. The Constitution 91st Amendment Act of 2003 limits the size of the Union Parliament to ministers, including the Prime Minister, to 15% of the total number members of the Lok Sabha. 15% of the total members of the Lok Sabha. But no provision is made for the appointment of Deputy Prime Minister or different categories of ministers such as Ministers of Cabinet rank, Ministers of State or Deputy Minister. It leaves the Prime Minister free in this matter. Prime Minister is free to choose the number of Cabinet, State or Deputy Minister he or she wants. Now, Deputy Prime Minister. As long as Sardar Patel was alive, there was the post of Deputy Prime Minister. The post was terminated with his demise. It was revived in 1967 when Morarji Desai was designated as the Deputy Prime Minister. In 1977, Chaudhry Charan Singh and Sri Jagjivan Ram both joined Morarji's cabinet as Deputy Prime Minister. On June 29, 2002, the Union Home Minister Sri L.K. Advani was also designated as the Deputy Prime Minister. Now, categories of ministers, which is very, very important from your examination point of view. All ministers do not belong to the same rank. Usually, there are three categories of ministers. Number one, the cabinet ministers or members of the cabinet. Number two, ministers of state. And number three, deputy ministers. Three categories. Cabinet ministers. To the first category of the cabinet ministers, very important, major portfolios. Portfolios means government posts. For example, Home Ministry, Defense Ministry, Finance Ministry, External Affairs Ministry, Railway Ministry. These are all under the cabinet minister. Only cabinet ministers have the right to attend the meetings of the cabinet. They together determine the policy and program of the government. All the policy and the program of the government under the major departments are done under the cabinet ministry. Ministers of state, they are not members of the cabinet. They may or may not be given the independent charge of a ministry. They do not participate in cabinet meetings, but they may be invited to attend meetings when matters concerning their departments are being considered. They are not allowed, generally the ministers of the states are not allowed to attend the cabinet meeting, but in certain cases when a particular minister's ministry is being discussed in the cabinet meeting, that minister is called. They may have to attend meetings when matters concerning their particular department are being considered or discussed, then they can attend the cabinet meeting. Then comes deputy ministers. Deputy ministers are junior ministers that are placed under senior ministers whom they are to assist. They do not take part in any cabinet deliberations, cabinet meetings or any cabinet decisions. They don't take any part. Tenure of the office. The Constitution says the minister shall hold office during the pleasure of the President. In fact, the Council of Ministers are collectively responsible. Unitedly, the Council of Ministers are responsible for the House of People, to the Lok Sabha. Therefore, the President cannot dismiss a Prime Minister as long as the Prime Minister enjoys the majority support of the House. That means the majority support of the Lok Sabha. As far as other ministers are concerned, they will be dismissed by the President on the Prime Minister's advice. Recently there's a reshuffle of a lot of ministry in the central government. Lot of ministers were made to resign. So they were made to resign on Prime Minister's advice. Okay. And that their resignation is accepted by the President. President has to accept. Reshuffling. President's power to dismiss a minister is in fact a power of the Prime Minister to get rid of an unwanted colleague. If he wants to get rid of an unwanted colleague, or if he wants to appoint someone in his place, totally it is up to the Prime Minister what he or she will do. Only the President will nod his or her head in agreement. Salaries and allowances. Salaries and allowances of ministers shall be such as determined by the Parliament from time to time. The Parliament will determine the salaries and the allowances from time to time. Each minister is entitled a constituency allowance at the same rate as is specified with the respect of the MPs. Besides, a sumptuary allowance is paid to the each minister. Ministers earn a lot of money, lot of allowance. Cabinet committee. The Prime Minister and the Cabinet functions with the help of committees. There are made committees or offices such as Defense Committee, Foreign Affairs Committee, Political Affairs Committee, Policy Making Committee. The committees are decision-making bodies. The Prime Minister is the chairman of very important committees: Defense, Foreign Affairs, Political Affairs. The Prime Minister is the chairman of such important committees. Now, distinction or difference between the Council of Ministers, that means the main ministry, and the cabinet. The term ministry and the cabinet are often used as interchangeably, meaning the same, but actually they are not. Prior to the 44th Amendment Act of 1979, not a word about cabinet was mentioned in the Constitution. It spoke only the Council of Ministers. The 44th Amendment Act, however, said that the President shall not issue the proclamation of emergency unless the decision of the cabinet has been communicated. So what is cabinet? Cabinet here means the council consisting the Prime Minister and other ministers of the cabinet rank. Cabinet means cabinet ministers and Prime Minister on their head. So what is the difference between Council of Ministers and Cabinet? Number one, Council of Ministers consists all three ministers: Cabinet Ministry, State Ministry, and Deputy. Cabinet, on the other hand, is a smaller group, only the Cabinet Ministers of 25 senior ministers. All Cabinet Ministers are ministers, but all ministers are not Cabinet Ministers. Number two, in the day-to-day working of the government, the Council of Ministers as a whole, all the three departments, rarely meet. The cabinet, on the other hand, is a small cohesive group of senior ministers who meet as frequently as possible. They together determine the policy and programs of the government. Number three, while the cabinet ministers meeting of the cabinet in their own right, the state ministers of state can only attend if they are invited or they are supposed to attend because their particular ministry is involved. No deputy minister is a junior minister. No junior minister can attend the meeting. And fourthly, the Constitution says that there shall be a Council of Ministers to aid and advise the President. So, in fact, the whole Council of Ministers does not aid and advise. Only the Cabinet advises the President. Minister of State, Deputy Minister, they don't run to the President. Although it is said the Council of Ministers will aid, but practically only the Cabinet Ministry aids the President. Since the Council of Ministers as a whole rarely meets, it is the Cabinet Minister who is consulted by the Prime Minister for the information and advice which he needs. Thus, Cabinet is the inner body within the Council of Ministers. It acts in the name of Council of Ministers and exercises all powers on its behalf. Understood? If you have not understood, go through the class again, you will understand. Very simple, nothing to get very perturbed or disturbed about. So this is basically the three categories of ministers. One is cabinet minister, one is minister of state, one is deputy ministers. Very, very, very important. Very, very important. You should have a clear idea about it. And the distinction between the Council of Ministers and the Cabinet. Cabinet is inside the Council of Ministry. All cabinet ministers are all cabinet ministers are inside the council, but all ministers are not cabinet ministers. So you should have a clear idea. So I'm not extending the class today more than this because it might become a little confusing. So in the next class, we'll just go through the different categories of ministers as a fresh up to freshen up your memory, And then we will continue with the powers and functions of the Council of Ministers, because if I don't freshen you up, we will not be able to understand again. Thank you very much for today.